Hi, I'm Clay Pleasant. I'm going to do a little spiel based on a couple days ago they released the new Star Wars movie. The name of it, of course, everyone should know by now. It's called The Force Awakens. Um, and yeah, I smoke. But basically, Force Awakens. Okay. I remember when I first heard the name, The Phantom Menace. I was super excited because no one knew what the movie was going to be. You have to put yourself back in that time. It was like '98, or when did that movie come out? '99, yeah. So it was like '98, and it was '99. Who knows? But they said the new movie is going to be The Phantom Menace, and I remember people going to see a movie just to see the trailer and then leaving after. They pay the full price of admission just to see the trailer for that movie. So there was huge hype. I mean, the only other movie that I've seen that much hype for is 1989 with Batman, which was still the biggest hyped movie of all time. Of course, Batman delivered, at least in my opinion. I thought it was fantastic. Especially, I was 9 years old, and I remember that that movie was just everything that I could ever hoped and dreamed of, even more. So the trailers got me excited, got everyone excited. Everyone was wearing the bat symbol, T-shirts and merchandise. People were buying Batman crap long before the movie even came out. So, and the movie delivered, big time. Jack Nicholson was fabulous as the Joker, just fantastic. Michael Keaton, everybody was talking about, oh, Michael Keaton, how could Michael Keaton be Batman? And this is long before the internet, and people were had just venom for that decision to have Michael Keaton. I mean, they were talking about having Patrick Swayze be Batman, and there was a whole list of others. Harrison Ford, I believe, was mentioned, and and all these guys that would have been, we were all thinking would be better Batmans. But Michael Keaton is Batman as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he was fantastic as Batman and fantastic as Bruce Wayne. But enough about Batman. We're talking about Star Wars and the Phantom Menace. And I remember me and my brother went and saw it in Hollywood, and we saw the Phantom Menace. We took a trip, um, down to LA, and we went to like Disneyland, and we made an event of it, and we saw it at the Chinese theater, Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood, and it was a big deal. I mean, we went in there, and I remember how it was, and a lot of people can concur with this, is that it said Star Wars. Well, first of all, it had the Lucasfilm logo, and people were just amped, excited, and and it said a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and I just, it didn't even seem real. It didn't even register that we're watching a new Star Wars movie. I turned to my brother. I was like, "We're watching a new Star Wars movie," you know. Um, it was just then boom, Star Wars, din, 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 and it shot across the screen, and that was the best it got, folks. That was the best it got. It didn't get any higher than that. From that point, that was that was the high water line, you know. That's where you saw the ocean waves break and then start to recede, to quote Hunter S. Thompson. But um, yeah, that was it. And as soon as the little story started scrolling, there was a problem, and there was a problem, but I still looked over it. I was like, it was talking about trade federations and taxations and stuff, and I was like, what? And I think a lot of people did, and I was like, all right, it's still Star Wars. They're going to give us quality. Star Wars is of the utmost quality, so this is fine. This is a new story. We're just adjusting to it. Went to Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and I remember the scene where they pull out their lightsabers and they start cutting, like they're using their lightsabers as a torch to cut a hole in the door, and that was wrong. It was wrong. It was wrong to use a lightsaber in that kind of fashion. Back in the day, You saw lightsabers only sparingly, and when you saw them, something awesome was happening. And that's what made lightsabers so dang cool. But here, not even 2 or 3 minutes into the movie, lightsabers come out, and they're using them for something stupid. They might as well have just been using them to cut their steak. They might as well just had them sitting there eating dinner, and whoa, little lightsaber steak knives. Whoa, you know, it was bad, and of course it just got worse. It unraveled. I mean, every second of imagery and sound from that movie was more assaulting to my and insulting to my senses and to my childhood as a whole. It was basically breaking my entire childhood apart as I was watching it. The magic that I had of my childhood of watching those Star Wars movies, and it was unraveling it. And of course, there's been a lot said over the years over the new trilogy, Phantom Menace, and and of course Jar Jar. I felt really. I was. It was. I can't. I didn't even know what to say about it. I wanted to. I was crying inside or something. I was like, this can't be real. I mean, and I saw that movie like 3 times in the theater because I kept going back, thinking it wasn't that bad. It couldn't be that bad. There's no way that the Phantom Menace, the new Star Wars, was that bad. And every time I went and saw it again, it was worse. And I remember years and years and years passed. I didn't even want to. I didn't even want to touch the thing. I didn't even want to touch it when it came out on DVD. I didn't want to even look at it. But I saw it again, years and years later. 10 years later, something like that. It wasn't that long. Maybe about 7, 8 years later. They had it on DVD. My friend had it over at the house, and he put it on. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch the Phantom Menace. Years have passed. That initial hard feelings that I had towards the movie is gone now, and maybe now that I'll watch it again with some fresh eyes and see something that it wasn't there before. But nope, it was worse than I'd ever possibly imagined. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I can't say that. I can't say it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. However, it is up there with one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Jar Jar was just awful, terrible, wretched, putrid, disgusting, obnoxious, vile, decrepit, ungodly, otherworldly, and not in a good way, like in a really disturbing way. He was fecal in nature, I would have to say. He was like walking shit. And walking, talking shit is the best thing I can describe as Jar Jar. And he was in every scene of the movie. Every scene had Jar Jar in it, flopping around, ears flopping around, just every scene. Every scene. I wanted the only good part. Okay, I'll tell you the only good part of Phantom Menace, which redeems nothing because the movie sucks, but it's the only part to watch that's worth anything. And of course, I'm talking about the Darth Maul, lightsaber fight at the end with Kenobi and Qui-Gon. It was really Kenobi, Kenobi, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul. That was good. That was a good lightsaber fight. And the music during that scene, that shit, that was great. That was fantastic. I like that. But and I don't know what had happened. It was Return of the Jedi where they started doing this like split plot scenes where they'd like skip from different plots and at the same time. That was incredibly annoying, and that seems to be the formula for Star Wars movies. I'm all building up to the Force Awakens here now. Now, then comes Attack of the Clones, and the Phantom Menace was terrible, awful, and there was a lot of backlash against it. The nerds were shouting, screaming on the internet because the internet was pretty new to everyone then, and it was it was still in its infancy stage, and they were heating that thing up. That internet was on fire with hatred for the Phantom Menace. So big old fat bearded George Lucas, I thought, would turn on his computer every now and then, because I'm sure he's got one. He's a trillionaire. I thought he'd turn on his computer and see all this shit and be like, oh, well, let me just fix that. But no, Attack of the Clones, if you can believe it, in my opinion, was even worse than the Phantom Menace. And I thought about it years and years, and I've debated about it, and I've talked to people about it, and it's just, what's worse, the Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones? And I've tossed those two up, Phantom Menace was god awful, terrible. The little kid was terrible. It was awful, train wreck of a movie. But Attack of the Clones was worse, and I'll go ahead and put that out there. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, Attack of the Clones was by far the worst Star Wars movie put to film. I mean, it was the worst by far. I can't even think of anything that was good in that movie. The only thing that was good in that movie is when Anakin steps outside of the hut. His mom just died or whatever, and he gets pissed off and he kills the Sand People. That's the only good part of the movie. The rest of it sucks. It's shit. The movie is complete shit. It's Count Dooku sucks. Weak. Sith Lord. Shit is what he was. Garbage. Trash. Just complete waste. Rubbish. So I was pretty much done with the new Star Wars. Then Revenge of the Sith. I started hearing about it. And at this point, I'm like... And you know what? I was excited about Revenge of the Sith, because I'm like, okay, now they have to fill the gap between the shit of Attack of the Clones, all that CG garbage, to Star Wars, A New Hope, the original Star Wars, which was, come on, a classic. I'm not even going to touch that. Everybody knows that's a classic. That you can't go wrong with Star Wars, or Empire Strikes Back, or to a lesser degree, Return of the Jedi. I figured Return of the Jedi was by far the weaker of the original three, but my God, man, you had the New Hope, and then you had Empire Strikes Back, which was, and everyone says this, so it's nothing new, but that's the best Star Wars movie, Empire Strikes Back, no question, in my opinion, no question, absolutely no question. So you had to bridge those gaps between, Attack of Clones and the New Hope. So what they do? They did a pretty good job. And Revenge of the Sith was the best one out of the new trilogy by far. So my advice, Revenge of the Sith sucked. A lot of it sucked. A lot of it was garbage, but not as much garbage as the first ones, the first two. It was good, and I wanted a lot more from the movie. I thought the fight between Yoda and the Emperor was lame. That was one of those things when I was a kid. I used to imagine how cool it would be, but no, it was lame. So my advice to and I thought the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin was lame as well. Sorry, it was lame. Darth Maul fight scene was 20 times better in my opinion. So my advice to J.J. Abrams and the crew of the new movie is, please limit the CG. Just limit that CG, please. I beg you. I want Muppets. I want strings. I want to see strings on the Muppets. I want real things on screen. I want to see something real. I don't want to see CG. I don't want to see cutscenes from a PlayStation game, for 2.5 hours. I don't want to see that anymore. No, I don't think any of us do. We're tired of the CG. Hollywood, we're tired of it. Please. Enough with the CG. Please. That's all I got. And, whatever you can take from that. Thanks.